Okay, we're live.
That's it, we're ready. Okay, we're reconvening to open session. This is a regular meeting of the Board of Education via teleconference of the Moore Park Unified School District, Tuesday, October 13th, 2020 at 5:37 p.m. Aurelia, will you call the roll?
Yes. Scott Dettori,
Here.
Jeff Donabedian,
Here.
Robert Perez,
Here.
Nathan Sweet is
Here.
and Ute Van Dam.
Present.
Thank you. There were no public comments on closed session items. During the closed session, we had a conference with labor negotiator, Government Code Section 54957.6, and public employee discipline, dismissal, release, Government Code Section 54957. All right, all rise and the Pledge of Allegiance. Please place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag
to the flag
of the United States,
United States of America,
to the republic,
To the
and the
republic
republic
for which it
stands,
stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Item number 6 is reordering and approval of the agenda. Do we have any items that we need to reorder?
No, we don't.
Okay, in that case, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we keep the agenda as is.
I'll
second.
second.
All right, on a motion from Robert Perez, second by Jeff Donabedian. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Approval of the minutes. It's recommended that the minutes of the September 15th, 2020 and September 22nd, 2020 regular meetings be approved by the board. I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
A motion by Ute Van Dam, second by Scott Dettori. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Public comment, item number 8, in accordance with Governor Newsom's Executive Order N25-20 regarding the COVID-19 virus and the notice of meeting teleconference posted on October 9th, 2020, members of the public may submit their comments electronically to the board secretary at ahernandez@mrpk.org. Prior to 4 p.m. on the day of the meeting, October 13th, 2020. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. With board consent, the board president may increase or decrease the time allowed. Due to the electronic nature of this meeting and to maintain the integrity of providing an opportunity for public comment, every effort will be made to read your comment into the record. Really, do we have any public comments? You're on mute still.
We received one for today's meeting.
And do you have that to read?
I have it ready.
Thank you very much.
And this is from Scott Fullerton. Dear MUSD School Board Trustees, as we get ready to go into our blended learning format on 10/21, there are many factors to consider. At present, we work with our students 2 to 3 days per week. Starting October 21st, we will work with them 1 to 2 days per week. We, students and teachers, are just starting to get the feel for pacing properly through distance learning. Anyone who works with kids and understands how they learn knows they need frequent contact and repetition, not less. I can't imagine competing at a high school level in athletics, band, performing arts if we only worked with our kids occasionally. They need regular repetition to achieve any level of mastery. If the argument is that we can't get more cohorts on campus each day for more frequent meetings due to logistics like cleaning, shouldn't we consider staying with distance learning? It's not perfect, but we need more frequent interaction with our students to help them learn. Also, attendance is very good in my classes and achievement has been similar to the regular school year. My kids are doing well. The situation is definitely less than perfect, but we are in a pandemic. Is what we are about to do better? The push to get back on campus for the social aspects during a pandemic is flawed. We will be socially distanced with a mask and a temperature check behind plexiglass. Right after their class is done, they will be whisked off campus with no dances, football games, fun activities at lunch, rallies, etc. Is that social scenario worth the risk we are about to take? One of my AM cohort classes has 2 students and another has 3. I wonder if those students will find it social. For learning to stick, students need frequent practice and repetition. For example, I work with kids to establish healthy habits in my health classes. We brush our teeth regularly, hopefully 3 times a day. I wouldn't tell them just to hit the dental hygiene hard once or twice a week for an hour each time to make up for the days they missed. We would never recommend someone cram all of their exercise into 1 or 2 sessions a week instead of doing a sensible amount more frequently. Learning is no different. We need time to examine some different models and training to implement them. All of the teachers I work with love working with the kids and want them back on campus to work with them every day. Anyone saying that we like full distance learning because it is easier is mistaken. I'm a 30-year veteran teacher and it feels like my first year teaching. Every lesson needs to be recreated. I'm starting to figure out and enjoy the new challenge of new technology, pacing, etc. It was also suggested to be careful we don't go too long in our present lessons because the kids' attention can only last so long. Now we will be going longer. We will figure out some amazing creative ways to keep them engaged for an extra hour. We will figure it out because we care about our kids. Will we be afforded some training and time to plan? From what I have been told, no. So far, thank God for YouTube. There is time to reconsider the path we are about to take. I know there are a wide variety of opinions on this and much to consider, but the biggest consideration needs to be what is best for our students. If the school board believes that 1 to 2 contacts per week is what is best for our students in MUSD, then that is what we are going to have to work with. Thank you for your time, Scott Fullerton, Moorpark High School teacher.
Okay, thank you very much. That's the only public comment, correct?
Yes.
Okay, then we can move on to item number 9, report from Superintendent Dr. Hayes.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to just provide some brief information that is updated information as we prepare to open our elementary and secondary schools. So first, with elementary, we are making final preparations, honing in on the site-specific details for our October 19th in-person reopening. An update with childcare. The Boys and Girls Club and the YMCA will be, depending on the schools, each one of our schools will have one of those options for during the day childcare when the student is not in their cohort. So it'd be for the opposite cohort for the student. Families who need during the day childcare at each school will have the opportunity with Boys and Girls Club or the Y. And if they need contact information, they are encouraged to contact the principal of their school who will give that information. Both of those agencies are also offering after-school care for parents who work, full time, and would get the students after 3 o'clock. So they will both be offering that as well. We are suspending CAP at Walnut Canyon and Success Express at Flory through winter break, up until winter break, as the nature of these after-school programs is having kids travel to several cohorts. And so we are, by the VCPH order, we are minimizing student groupings. And so your typical childcare is one grouping of students. They go with that group. And so the Boys and Girls Club and YMCA are better equipped to offer childcare at this time. We will see as restrictions loosen, as we progress through the tiers, then we will be open to, reopening the CAP and Success Express program. So I wanted to make that announcement. Also, VCPH, the Ventura County Public Health Department, is holding, they have a team of nurses and an infectious disease physician who are going to provide up-to-date COVID data, up-to-date information, and answer questions this Thursday, October 15th, from 5 to 6 o'clock will be in English, and from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock in Spanish. This particular one this Thursday will be focused on the elementary schools. The Zoom link will be posted on our website tomorrow, as well as on the elementary school sites. The questions will not be answered live. However, the nurses and the physician, any questions that our parents have, we encourage them to email their principal, and the principal is forwarding them to me, and then I in turn am giving them to VCPH, and they're compiling them. And they have done this for 2 other school districts, and they said that the hour was suffice to answer the questions, because they're typically grouped into similar categories. So I really encourage our parents to take advantage of this. These are the health professionals, and they really have, as I said, up-to-date scientific information. And then lastly, this week, parents of elementary students, look for information from your school with, specific details on dropping off your student, where to drop them off, how to drop them off, what to bring to school, what to send with your student. And also we will include reminders and information to families for screening at home. So remember, we want our families to screen their student at home before sending them to school. And then we will also screen and take temperatures of the elementary students as they arrive, before they arrive onto campus. But we do need our families' help, because our partnership will keep everyone safe and our schools will continue to be able to be open. And so for secondary schools, with the exception of the high school, Moore Park College, we are preparing for in-person school to begin on Wednesday, October 21st. The high school, Moore Park College, is going to continue distance learning until we work with Moore Park College to come up with services that they can provide for our students. Right now, their health office is closed, and other services, because their college campus is essentially closed because their school courses are being offered online. And so our students, the way the schedules are, they are integrated with the Moore Park College courses. And so to keep the learning consistent and the plan consistent, our kids will remain with distance learning until such a time that we can work something out which would benefit our students. We do want to get these kids back in person. And again, it's just that they are housed at a different site in their program, really different, and it really is integrated with college courses. So it is a bit different. Also, if our secondary parents, the same type of question and answer and informative session is going to be offered by VCPH on Monday, October 19th. That's Monday, October 19th, and from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, that session will be provided in English. And then for our Spanish-speaking families, 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock on the 19th as well. And also secondary parents, you will also receive information this week regarding drop-off procedures, pickup procedures, and what to send to school with your students. And also, again, just screening reminders and step-by-step how to screen your student at home before you send them to school. And then food services, I wanted to give an update. Beginning October 19th for elementary schools and October 21st for secondary schools, we will have 2 distribution points for meals at every site for the AHEM cohort. One will be the grab and go for the distance learners and parents needing to pick up meals at our bus loop, and that will be at and for parents picking up at the bus loop. So it's going to be for distance learning at the bus loop. The second point of distribution will be one at the exit location designated by the site principal for the students walking out or leaving the cohort in the morning, and the students can get those on the way out. So you have your distance learning students can come and get their meals, and then the AM cohort on the way out can get their meal. And then for cohort B, we will have 1 point of distribution, and it will be at the same exit that was approved by the site to give out meals to the students walking out or getting picked up. And that again will be breakfast and lunch together. And I want to really thank our food services. We are serving like 1,200 meals a day, and we encourage our families, all of our students, to take advantage of this to get their breakfast and lunch, and they're very tasty and nutritious. And lastly, well, actually 2 more things. I do want to thank our teachers, our counselors, our classified support staff, and management leadership team. We have a group of these individuals who truly are working really hard and dedicated to opening our schools successfully and preparing to offer engaging and exciting experiences for our kids. And we acknowledge that, yes, it's going to be different. It is not business as usual. However, having our kids in the classrooms is definitely going to be advantageous for our students. I don't recall a more challenging time in education from anyone that I've ever known in the field of education. And I have to say I'm very proud. I'm proud of our school board and our MUSD staff for rising to the occasion for our students, keeping their students at the forefront. And then lastly, I wanted to share with the Board of Education and our public who may be watching our newly created MUSD COVID-19 dashboard. We have prepared a COVID-19 dashboard for all of our MUSD schools for our website that will track and report any confirmed COVID-19 cases in an effort to be transparent to our community. And so you can see here, we've listed all of our schools and the number of students and staff. These are the number of students and staff that will be in person. And the reason why that is important is because when there will be, if we have a confirmed case, we will note it, and the far right column will show a percentage. So if, for example, at Aurora West, there is, a confirmed case, either a student or a staff, they will be, the number one will be placed, and then the percentage 1 out of 329 will be calculated, and that percentage will show. The reason why that is important is if we would happen to get to 5% at a given school site, as of now, the VCPH would close that school until a time to be determined, so it could be thoroughly cleaned and there would be a sufficient wait period, and then that school would reopen. But this, I think, will be a tool that our parents can refer to, our staff can refer to see our COVID cases. And David, if you can go down. You will see here, I wanted to just point out the communication process in the event of a confirmed COVID-19 case. VCPH would be notified, okay? They would be notified first, and then I would be notified. And any person identified as a close contact, I would work closely with VCPH. We have another liaison as well as in our district. And anyone who would be considered a close contact would receive a personal phone call by the district or school staff, notifying them of such. And we are also, although it's not required, we have also decided at MUSD that we would be calling everyone personal phone calls of the actual cohort, anyone in the cohort. And then the entire school community, the larger school community, would also receive an email that there was a positive case on the campus. And this allows families to make a decision. If you're at a cohort and there's a positive case and you're not a close contact, you may choose to be tested or you may not. You could still resume going to classes if you're not a close contact. But again, reporting and being as open and transparent as we can. And obviously, we will maintain the confidentiality and protect student and staff privacy following all FERPA protocols. And so I would encourage, this will go live tomorrow on our MUSD website, this entire dashboard, and we will keep it updated. And I would encourage people to use it as an additional resource. And that is my report.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody have any comments or questions? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for all your hard work of you and your staff. Item number 10 is report from district board members. We can start with, who's at the top here? Ms. Van Dam.
I don't really have anything personally to report for the last couple of weeks, but I do want to thank Dr. Hayes and her team for coming up with a very comprehensive plan for returning to school, which rules and regulations change almost daily, sometimes even hourly. So I want to thank you and your team for just everything that you've done for our district and our students and our families and our teachers. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Vittori.
There we go. Like Ms. Van Dam, I've really nothing to report personally, other than to echo what she said, which is to give commendation to our superintendent and all her staff and faculty. As we all know, it's been very trying times, and I think I would think I speak for most where it's greatly appreciated. We are moving forward. We are reopening and onward and upward to better things. So again, Dr. Hayes, to you and all your staff and faculty, thank you. It's greatly appreciated. That's it.
Okay, Mr. Bonabedian?
Yeah, not much more to add than what was already stated, but also to Dr. Hayes for letting Ventura County Public Health come in and get info to our staff and to our parents. I think that's greatly appreciated by everybody. Get some really good info and straight from the people that are making the decision. So thank you for allowing that as well and getting them connected with our parents as we go to move to open next week. So that's it.
Okay, Mr. Perez?
I'd also like to echo what my fellow board member said. Thank you, Dr. Hayes. Thank you, everyone, our district family, everyone who has been answering the questions daily by the seconds. Dr. Hayes, I've been receiving numerous questions this last week, and from teachers, from parents, and you've responded just really fast, which was great. We were able to get those answers back to our families, to our teachers, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you getting the message out, and I do look forward to going back to school next week. The kids are excited. I do want to thank just everyone for all their hard work. I did speak to a couple of parents from the high school at Moorpark College, and they wanted me to share that they are just having such an amazing experience at that school. They both come from Moorpark High School, and they just said this is the best thing they've ever done. So they were praising the school and praising everyone over there, and they're grateful for everything that you've done for them. But just hope everyone stays safe, and we'll see you soon.
Okay, great. Thank you, Robert. Not a lot new to report. I just was looking up today. The new cases in Ventura County are 15 today, which is significantly lower than we've had in the past. That puts our rate at per 100,000 at 5.2, and we were waiting for that number to drop below 7 for a long time, and so now we're at 5.2, well beyond or well below that figure to put us from the purple to red tier. So I don't know what level is next, at what threshold, but so far so good. Dr. Hayes, thank you very much for you and your team for all your hard work, and also for Orlando and the Child Nutritional Services. 1,200 meals a day is quite a feat in these times, and I know that in the beginning of during this COVID outbreak, he and his team were putting together, I want to say they were prepared for 1,200, but they were providing about 700 meals or so, give or take, in the beginning. But the word is out, and he's continued, and he and his team have continued to rise to the challenge of the ever increasing demand for meals for our students, and their families. So that's terrific. Okay, with that, we'll move on to item number 11, board items for action and discussion. The Moorpark Community Aquatic Center Committee requests permission from the Moorpark Unified School District Board of Education to conduct an aquatic center feasibility study at no cost to the district on parking lot E of the Moorpark High School campus. Additional information is provided in the reference proposal. Any action taken will be at the discretion of the board. Dr. Hayes.
Yes, Moorpark Unified School District received a formal request from the Moorpark Community Aquatic Center Committee to place this item on the board agenda for the school board's consideration to allow them to hire a party, which is listed in the back, to come onto our campus, onto our property to as a part of their feasibility study. They would need the district's permission to come to to come onto our property to take the necessary action to conduct a feasibility study. They are stating, and part of their statement is that it would not cost the district anything. They're not asking for financial support for the feasibility study. They are just, this approval of this item would allow them to have their feasibility study, the people who come onto our property. So you would be granting them permission to come onto Moorpark MUSD property for the feasibility study.
Okay, do we have any questions for Dr. Hayes?
I have a quick
Dr.
question.
Hayes,
Just wanted to
oh,
know
ahead.
if the study, can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, we can.
Okay, just wanted to know approximately how long it will be and if it's good to be disruptions to our students when they're back on campus.
This particular parking lot is on the access road to the Arroyo Vista Park. And according to the principal, it is not utilized. It's very lightly utilized by students. So I don't believe it would be disruptive. I do not know how long they would need to be at the site. I could, report back to the board on that, but I don't know honestly about that.
Dr. Hayes, I know that there's been talk about many locations on campus, and I just want to know how was this location chosen? Why?
I don't have all the background information because I wasn't a part of these conversations, because this is outside of the district purview. I'm not a part of this committee. However, I know that there have been discussions in the past about various locations on the Moorpark High School campus, and I know I'm familiar with some of the restrictions that were identified by the athletic director, the principal, people who use the site, in terms of it. One of them would eliminate the girls' softball field. Another would have eliminated the JV football field and some PE area. Another one would have eliminated the parking lot between in the back in the back of the school. So I'm familiar with those three, but this came up. I really don't know how this one came about, came to be, but I do know I did call the principal about this item and asked her, as well as the athletic director, what the restrictions would be on this particular property, and they both felt that out of all of the ones being considered so far, this would be their choice because it would have the least impact, to students and at the Moorpark High School campus. That it's not a heavily utilized parking space even during football games. I guess this area is typically the guest parking for football games, parking lot E, and according to the principal and the athletic director, it's usually about half full during football games for the guests. So that's about the information I have. Again, the district has not been involved in these discussions. This is through the committee, their discussions, and we have not attended those meetings.
And I know you said that parking obviously is not an issue. Do you know if the feasibility study is going to include a parking study down there? Because I know there's other events that occur. We have track, we have, now with, if there is a pool or future use for a pool there, are they going to be able to determine whether there's enough parking there for the guests that come and of course our pool students as well?
Well, I believe the feasibility study would include users, potential users of the pool, and because part of it is ascertaining whether or not it would be a revenue source. In other words, how much of an impact would the maintenance be? Because that's part of the feasibility. It predicts the maintenance costs. So they will. I'm sure that we will get, the district would be provided, or the feasibility anyway would provide a demand schedule, a proposed demand schedule, and at that time, the parking lot could be assessed. How many spaces are available? Would it accommodate their predicted levels of use of the pool?
Okay, and then lastly, I know that the only other concern was there's like a watershed protection below there or something, and I want to just, you probably don't know this, but has anyone talked to them about this potential use? Because I know in the past we've always had issues, and of course neighbors are going to be the first to speak up. So, I'm just asking because I know feasibility studies and looking at the fees for this, I'd hate for the study to be done and this arises later, or there's no plumbing down there, or, just if there's anything we can help the committee prevent before they sign on to this use. I know a few years ago when I got on the board, it was asked to put some guest bathrooms down there, and we weren't able to do that because of liquefaction, and there was just so many plumbing issues down there. So that's why we had to bring in the portables. So, maybe it'd probably be wise to talk to the city and, see the underground there. And of course, I guess answering the question if the neighbors were, aware of this too.
Well, as far as, we have been told that there's a water table issue at Arroyo Vista Park in certain locations of the park, but I am absolutely, I am not an expert in that area. So that's something the city would have information on. In terms of plumbing, I don't believe the plumbing lines run down there. So, I mean, I think that would be a part of the feasibility study. I'm sure they would do that work. They would do that investigative work in that background and get to see, they would look at the water table level and also the plumbing, because that would all factor into the cost, because the feasibility study, as I believe, the whole point would be to issue a cost estimate of the type of facility that would be built there, and also the potential, the cost of maintaining it in any way to their prediction of addressing those costs with user demand. So that would really be, I believe, the job they would have. I'm sure they would have their team of engineers.
Okay, anyone else?
I just a comment, or actually more of a question, just clarification. So really the essence of this, this item is, bottom line is they're requesting permission from this board to be able to enter district property, school property, to conduct the feasibility, correct?
That's correct. That's
Okay.
essentially the role of the board tonight, is to determine if you will give them permission to access the district property to perform that study.
Okay.
And just this, I don't, the feasibility study is going to answer a lot of these questions, certainly. I know that just off the top of my head, the immediate neighbors of that would be next to this pool area in parking lot E is the nursery, the tree, where they have all the trees and vegetation and all that. So that's the immediate neighbors that are there. That this parking lot E is on the hill on the way up to back to Tierra Hada, and that I think I went out and looked at that area recently, and it certainly is higher in elevation than Arroyo Vista by itself. So that I would assume that there'd be less potential for the water table to impact that, and then there is some city land behind it. I think that this committee has been talking to the city about the potential use of that property also. And just for people that are thinking about accessing school property, COVID, and all that kind of thing, like Dr. Hayes was saying, this parking lot is on, I guess it would be the north side of that access road off Tierra Hada. So it's school property, but it's not. It's across the street on the other side of the football field and all that, away from any classrooms. It's a few hundred yards away from classrooms. It's not directly on the campus, but it is school property. So if anybody had that, and then it's at no cost to the district. So they would find out all these. They would be paying for this study that would answer a lot of these questions in case something that we wanted to do sometime in the future. So that's it. Otherwise, any other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I have just a quick kind of comment.
Yeah.
Or I know we just recently lost our only local pool that we were using for our aquatics program. I know we're looking at declining state revenues, which is just going to make that internal solution even harder. I know that we hadn't had time to have discussions as a district internally to come up with a solution yet for this. And I know with those parking lots used to be used and we had a lot more kids on campus. I don't think we see any upcoming big increases in students that's really going to make that parking lot very useful for the future. And I think it's something we should consider moving forward with, because I think at some point us and the city are going to have to come together and find some type of solution. And so this seems like a really good spot.
I'd like to make a motion.
I'll second that.
Scott Dettori, second by Itay Van Dam. Thank you, Jeff, for your comments. I concur. All those in favor?
Aye.
I
Opposed? Okay, ayes have it, 5-0. Moving
Dr.
on.
Hayes, will they keep us updated on the process?
Yes, I will reach out to them and ask that we are kept apprised. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Moving on to item number 12, consent action. Items proposed for the consent calendar are noted on the posted agenda and are considered by the superintendent to be of a routine nature. Any item may be removed from the consent calendar at the request of any board member and placed under the appropriate action category. A roll call vote will be taken for the consent calendar so that any items requiring a roll call vote can be properly addressed. It's recommended that all consent items be approved. Do we have anyone that wants to pull any individual items?
I'll make a motion that we approve all consent items.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
A motion for Robert Perez, second by Scott Dettori. Aurelia, will you call the roll?
Yeah, Scott Dettori,
Aye.
Jeff Donabedian,
Aye.
Robert Perez,
Aye.
Nathan Sweet,
Aye.
Utah Van Dam.
Okay, moving on to item number 20. The Moore Park Educators Association would like to open negotiations for the 2020-2021 school year. It is a successor agreement and intend to review all articles of the contract, but will focus on the following particular areas in addition to salary and benefits. This is an informational item only. No board action is required. And it's Article 5, working hours and calendar, and Article 3, association rights. Dr. Hayes, you have comment on that, or?
This action is required before we begin negotiations to bring into sunlight, if you will, the articles that will be negotiated in addition to salaries and benefits. So these are the two that MEA has put forth for board information.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 21, in accordance with Education Code Section 35186, school districts must provide quarterly reports to disclose any uniform complaints filed for the period of July 2020 through September 2020. Attached is Moore Park Unified School District's October quarterly report on Williams uniform complaints, indicating that no complaints were filed with any school in the district during this quarter. This information is for public reporting purposes only. No board action is required. Item number 22, the Moore Park Unified School District's 2020-2021 adopted budget has been reviewed and approved by the Ventura County Office of Education, as noted on the referenced correspondence. This is an informational item only. No board action is required. Item number 23, Educational Code, sections 17455 and authorize school district governing boards to lease real property after 1, adopting a resolution of intent by a 2/3 vote, declaring the intention to lease the property, 2, posting public notices during the required notice period, and 3, accepting sealed written bids and oral bids at a subsequent public hearing in which the governing board may accept the highest qualifying bid. The Board of Education, the board of the Moore Park Unified School District desires to lease surplus real property located at 5297 Maureen Lane, Moore Park, California, 93021, the property, pursuant to Ed Code sections 17455. The district previously declared the property surplus, adopted a resolution of intent to lease the property, and notified the public of the opportunity to lease the property. The district now desires to open and receive bids for the lease of the property and to ultimately accept the highest bid if the district's best interest, if it's in the district's best interest to do so. In addition to the receipt of written bids, in accordance with the process described above, interested parties may submit an oral bid at least 5% higher than the highest written bid received. during the board meeting by raising a hand or via the function provided on Zoom, through which this remote board meeting will be held. Any interested bidder who is unable to raise a hand via the Zoom should immediately email ahernandez@mrpk.org in order to submit their oral bid during the meeting. The highest oral bidder, if any, will be required to reduce their bid in writing. Execute and return a signed bid form to the district by October 20, 2020. It's recommended that the board accept eligible written and/or oral bids and adopt resolution number 2020-2021-06. Resolution accepting bid for the lease of surplus property and authorizing staff to take related actions.
Board President, 1 second. There was an error. The highest oral bidder, if any, will be required to produce their bid in writing, not reduce. Should be produce. Okay.
Thank you. Highest oral bidder, if any, will be required to produce their bid in writing, execute and return a signed bid form to the district by October 20th, 2020. Okay, Dr. Hayes, do you have the,
I do. I have it right here. I'm going to open it up.
yeah, please.
Okay. Excuse me, there's a lot of papers. Excuse me. Let me just
I
find the
could read
bid.
the part while
Yeah,
I
you
do
can.
that.
Yes, go ahead.
For agenda item number 23, the Board of Education will receive bids for the lease of the Maureen Lane Warehouse property and consider resolution number 2020-2021-06. Resolution accepting bids for the lease of the surplus property and authorizing staff to take related actions for the warehouse. And then we have one bid, of which Dr. Hayes is reviewing right now.
I am. Excuse me. I am. Okay. It is from a company called Alchemy Foods. It's a food distribution company, and the bid is for $1 a square foot. I'm sorry, $1 per square foot.
Okay, $1 per square foot. Let's see. So the board will now accept oral bids in accordance with Education Code Section 17473. The board will only accept oral bids that exceed the highest written bids by at least 5%. Therefore, the board will only accept bids of $1.05 per square foot. Is that
That's correct.
all right? Does any member of the public desire to submit an oral bid? And so, Aurelia, were we notified of anyone's intent to submit an oral bid this evening at all?
No, we have not received any oral bids. I haven't received any emails either.
Okay. All right, no oral bids were submitted. Thus, the Alchemy Foods has submitted the highest bid received by this board. And do I have a motion to accept the highest eligible bid and adopt resolution number 2020-2021-06? Resolution accepting bids for the lease, the surplus property, and authorizing staff to take related actions.
And if I may inform the board, by accepting this, it is different from awarding the bid. You would allow me to negotiate then the particulars of the lease, including utilities and other services, custodial services, et cetera. I would work with this particular company if the board accepts the bid and present then a lease offer. We would come up with an agreed upon lease offer, and then it would come back to the board for final approval.
Okay, I have a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2020-2021-6.
I'll second that.
A motion from Jeff Donavedian, second by Robert Perez. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, all those in
Wait,
favor?
I have a quick
Yes.
discussion, a question. Do you know what kind of food this Alchemy Food makes?
Mr. Sweet, you researched them?
I believe it is a vegan and gluten-free snack food company out of Colorado, maybe?
Thank you.
You're welcome. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it 5-0. Thank you very much for putting that together. Okay. Do we have any pending agenda items? Okay, in that case, the date and time of the next regular meeting. The next regular meeting of the Board of Education of the Moore Park Unified School District will be held on Tuesday, November 10th, 2020 at 5:30 PM in the District Office Boardroom, 5297 Maureen Lane, Moore Park, California. We're not sure if it's via teleconference or not, to be determined, I guess, right? So do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
All right, on a motion from Scott DeTore, second by Ute Van Dam. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, and we're adjourned at 6:22 PM. Thank you very much. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Moore Park.